Welcome to Salcedo Paranormal. It is Sunday, December 18th, 2022, and tonight I'll be sharing true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all of the episodes of the show along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salcedoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. And of course, the main two ways to contact me with those stories, the ones that will get to me the quickest overall, would be the email, which is salcedoparanormal@gmail.com, or through Discord, through a direct message in Discord. So, and I haven't said this in a while, so just always looking for stories of these experiences, and you can be as vague about the location as you would like, and also I do not have to include any names of anybody, or we can change names as needed. It's more important that the stories of these experiences get out there so that people know that they're not alone. So happy to share those, and already have you on the show to talk about them with me. So thank you all for listening. Whether you're here for the live stream, hello, I see you there, Derek, or if you listen to the podcast or our YouTube feeds. And also the podcast page recently, they did an update, and I chose the updated version of the page, and it changed the appearance of the page quite a bit. So if you ever go to the Podbean page and you notice that, I apologize. But hopefully everything still works. Let me know if you have any problems, and I will have to get someone to help me with that, because that's visual. Not only just visual stuff, but that's visual and computer stuff that I'm not so confident in working on my own. So, but hopefully it still works for everybody. And yeah, so also just a quick announcement. This will be the last week of shows for this year. I'll go for the usual 5 days, Sunday through Wednesday, basically. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday morning, and or Wednesday night, however you look at it. And might do an extra show next weekend. We'll see what happens. If not next weekend, then maybe that week that I'm off, I'll do an extra show. But I will let you all know, and just keep an eye on the Discord, because that is where I always make sure, if nowhere else, I put notifications here in the Discord server. And you can find a link to that on the podcast page, or at least you should be able to. So, all right, I think that takes care of all the housekeeping. And so tonight I have 3 stories to share with you all, and we'll go from there. So, let's see here. Everything looks okay. So yeah, let me get to these stories here. And I also want to thank Derek again for the last show we did, episode 300. That was so much fun. That was such a great event to cover, and the comics, and really enjoyed doing that show. So yeah, that was so much fun. Yeah, and yeah, we gotta start planning. Derek was just saying we gotta start phase 2 now. Start figuring all that out. So yeah, definitely. That'll be we'll start working on that in early January, Derek. We'll start talking about that, because I take that last week of this month off, basically. So and I'm doing Lovecraft later this week. So we have time, so that's good. Yeah, so just want to make sure I said that again real quick, and now on to the stories. These first 2 I actually had saved up for the show I was going to do last week, and I didn't get to. So So I may not, I don't remember them extremely well like I usually do. So I apologize for any stumbling that may happen with these first two. So this one says, one spring night when I was around 13, I was playing in my garden with a friend. I lived in a small bungalow with an overwhelmingly large garden, large enough to house a World War II era bomb shelter with a lot of space left over. Towards the far back of the garden were trees, bushes, and a tall metal fence backing onto the opposite neighbor's garden. It was pitch black around 10 p.m. when I was messing around with my friend in the garden. This part of the garden is far enough away from the bungalow that any light radiating wouldn't illuminate the area. I turned and I looked towards the back, and I saw someone standing there, about 15 feet away from me, standing 7 feet tall, dark as anything I've ever seen. It was in the shape of a person, but something felt off. It was so dark, it was almost radiating darkness. It wasn't black like a smoky apparition, but solid, and so much darker than the night around me, in that I felt I could reach out and physically touch it. It wasn't in my peripheral vision, but I was staring directly at it. It wasn't in a dream or a vision with my eyes closed, but or briefly in the center of my eye. It was right in front of me. I felt intensely fearful, but I'm not sure if that's because I was generally creeped out or because it was malignant. I quickly grabbed my friend, who was next to me, and ran inside as fast as I could. My friend didn't seem to see the same, apparition as me, but he saw what he described as shapes in the air, right around the tree where I saw this person. Our parents immediately investigated because they thought someone might have broken in, but they found nothing. It would be impossible for someone to break into our garden anyway. Afterwards, I had a constant feeling I was being watched until we moved out of the house about a year later. I'm 27 now and I still think of this. I don't suffer from hallucinations, believe in the paranormal, or think ghosts are real. I'm very skeptical and have a bachelor's of science in psychology. But I saw something real that day I can't explain. The fact that my friend saw shapes, whatever that means, suggests to me I did indeed witness something strange and didn't suffer from a minute's worth of insanity. Has anyone had similar experiences? What are they? And that's how they end the story. So again, these appearances. This is an odd one, and I forgot about this. That these two people saw slightly different things. Yeah, so dark it radiates darkness. Yeah. And I like how the writer points out there they were afraid, but they don't know for sure if that was just because of how weird the experience was or if it was because it wasn't negative. And I think that's a very important thing to always keep in mind with these stories. It is totally understandable to be afraid of these things, of whatever we see. But it doesn't always mean it's evil. But in that case, when you're so afraid, I can totally understand why they might think that it's possible that it was negative. But luckily, it does seem like whatever was going on there stayed there, so that's good. But yeah, just an odd story there. Really amazing though that there was no. The parents checked everything out after, and there's nothing there. So, was it a thing that only kids could see? Again, going back to that episode where we had Matt on with me. Was it because of they were younger, or did it just vanish as soon as the kids freaked out? Or as soon as the parents started to come outside? Could have done that too. Could have just waited, But then once it saw people coming outside, it was just didn't want to deal with it anymore. Maybe it didn't even mean to be seen. Again, there's always that possibility as well. So, hard to say, but neat story there for sure. Especially with the different the different people seeing different things. That always is just raises all kinds of questions there. So, let me see here. So yeah, I guess I'll go on to the next story. And let's see here. All right, here we go. This one says, I was driving tonight with some friends. We had gone to see some Christmas lights, and we're driving back to one of their apartments on a back road. It was supposed to be a 1 hour, 7 minutes drive, but we were on that road alone for an hour and a half. One of us called out that the GPS had stayed at 38 minutes until our destination was reached for 5 minutes. I was driving the speed limit, occasionally going 5 or 10 miles per hour over. I only slowed down 3 times for big curves. Once we got home, we realized we were driving for 2 hours. None of us understand what happened to the time and cannot think of any sort of logical explanation for the event. We searched for similar stories and couldn't seem to find anything. Has this ever happened to anyone else? So that's where the story ends. That one is wild. They don't say there was missing time, but they also appeared to be on the road for too long. I don't know. It's really an amazing story. I'm glad that nothing else happened, as far as I can tell. That's a good thing. But yeah, I don't know, some kind of maybe possibly some kind of anomaly at the location. Derek says. I don't know. It's just it seems like they were aware, at least for parts of it. I wonder if they were completely aware, and this is the problem with these kinds of stories because you're just getting whatever all you get is what you get. So maybe there's more details that would come from an actual interview. But I wonder if they were aware the whole time, or if they weren't, or if they even know if they were or not. Yeah, maybe something. Derek says maybe something warping the space and time around it. So like you're trying to walk up a down escalator or something. Yeah, takes longer than it should. I don't know. I just thought that was really an amazing story. It wasn't a straight simple case of missing time. It wasn't they didn't see anything weird. I'm just wondering what the road looked like. If there was a familiar road, then wouldn't they have noticed if things didn't look? I don't know. It seems like they would notice details about the road, and then if they were noticing details about the road, then wouldn't they notice time kind of acting weird just based on what they're seeing? It seems really. It seems like even just based on the writer, like they were kind of in and out of it part of that time, even if they didn't realize it at the time. I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of putting words in their mouth or ideas into the story. I don't know, but I thought that was a really wild story right there. That's not just like I said. I picked it because it's not the usual missing time story or jump ahead in time or any of those things. It's like it reminds me of a couple of times. I know I've talked to friends about this before, but I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned it on the show. A couple of times where I'd be listening to something, and I go into. It was like the moment stood still in time, and like the audio, like blended into just one tone, and then it went on for like a minute, maybe 2 minutes. I don't even know. Time was weird in that time. But then when I came out of it, it went on just as it had been before. Everything just returned to normal. And there was no missed part of the recording I was listening to. And they were like usually podcasts. Um, Funny enough, they're usually podcasts about all these weird things. Um, and and nothing felt bad or wrong, but I remember everything kind of almost like time slowed to a crawl, maybe is what happened. I don't know. But and then it just went back to normal after a little while. That's almost what that reminds me of, except for they were in a vehicle. Yeah. Yeah. That could yeah, Derek says like they're stuck in some sort of temporal quicksand. Yeah. I don't know. That is that's a we could probably talk about this story for quite a while longer and still not come to any kind of conclusions about it. So I guess I'll just go on to the next one. Sometimes that's all you can do. So let's see here. And this one I just found today, so I should be able to remember this one a little better. So this one says, just to preface, this happened like 5 years ago when I was a freshman in high school and had been sick for a couple of days. This was in my parents' house, and to my knowledge, nobody has ever died there. I've never really been able to rationalize it, even though I generally don't believe in ghosts or anything like that. I was sleeping in bed and woke up because my phone was playing music. It was about halfway through a song that I knew, which was on my playlist at the time. I paused the song and checked on the time. It was somewhere around 5 a.m., if I remember correctly, and turned over towards my door. Standing right next to my bed, there was a person or entity or something staring at me. It was dark, so I couldn't see it very well, but it looked like a person wearing a dark robe and a white mask with no mouth and small black eyes. The closest thing I can compare it to is a character named No Face from Spirited Away, which I guess is an anime, if I'm remembering right. I'm jumping out of the story here for a second. I never actually saw that one. It says, I remember not feeling afraid for some reason. Like I said, I was sick at the time and didn't really know what to do. So I just stared at it for about 5 minutes and went back to sleep. I woke up and assumed it was a dream until I opened up my phone and saw my music app open with that same song on pause exactly where I had stopped it that night. I talked to my dad about it, and he said it was probably a fever dream. But I don't understand how the music would be there, as I didn't listen to the music to fall asleep. And as far as I can tell, or remember, sorry, the last app I used was not the music app. Nothing weird has happened since, but the experience weirds me out to this day. Any explanation would be appreciated, paranormal or otherwise. And it says, thanks for reading. So, it seems like oh wow, okay. So it seems like, if nothing else, there was some kind of activity on the phone, the person's phone. So, that is odd that it started out like that. Um, and so I don't know. It could have been a real experience. Um, and so yeah, Derek put a couple of images here of that character. If you want to look up that anime as well, you can probably find it. So, and I don't know. I wonder. I'm sure that some people would just write this off because the writer was sick, but even if you just get rid of that apparition, it seems like it's kind of. I don't like to just dismiss things, especially when there's other physical things going on, like the the strangeness with the phone starting and playing a song when that app wasn't open. And of course that can happen too, I guess. But it seems like that was out of the normal for that person's device, possibly. So also, funny enough, I had this one experience that was super fast. Didn't get any feelings from it, but I was sitting here at home one time at night, of course, on my computer, different computer, and just playing solitaire, and had music on and everything. And I happened to look off to the side because I saw something like a light or a white something or other, and it was similar in a way to that mask that the person in that story referenced. It was just like a mask of a face that was in the air, and it just like flew past me, and then it was gone. And didn't get any feelings from it, but I saw it, and yeah, it was so fast that I sometimes I forget about that experience, but that story just reminded me of it. So I don't know. It could be something to that. I wonder if that's a. I should look into that. If that's like a whole other kind of sighting or experience people have that is just not talked about all that much. That might be something for a show later on. So, yeah, but it's just all those things combined. When you have multiple things happening in an experience, to me, that usually says something's going on. So, I don't know. But okay, great movie. Yeah, see, I haven't seen it, Apex, so I didn't know. Um, but oh, there we go. Yeah, Derek says, yeah, exactly. Maybe the origin of the masks could be that people saw the faces floating around first. There you go. That's a possibility. And then what are those? So yeah. Yeah. So neat stories. Thank you all for being here and listening to them, and so yeah, that's it for tonight. And I should probably be back tomorrow night with paranormal news on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your night or day.